If you've got 10 minutes a day, then you can be organized. Find out how on today's Keeping You Organized. Well, joining me now is Diane Albright from DianeAlbright.com. And Diane, your kind of list of all the different things you've done, I don't know if we have time to cover them all, but we'll talk about a few of them. First of all, you're the creator of 10 Minutes a Day to Organizing Success and Work Piles Made Easy. We'll talk about those in just a few minutes, but you've also been featured as an organizational expert on TLC, HDTV, QVC, and that's just a few of them. Also, you primarily are a certified professional organizer and motivational speaker, and we're going to get into some of those details as well. And then you have, which is kind of unique, you actually have a unique thing in that you have a couple different offices from what I understand, one in the Northeast and also one down in South. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So, boy, I think I'm out of breath already. I should at least let you say hi, shouldn't I?
Hello. I'm very excited to be participating and saying hello and sharing some information.
Awesome. Well, let's start back at the beginning, kind of how you even got involved in professional organizing, kind of the backstory, so to speak. What made you become a professional organizer?
Well, I had been working full-time, and I stopped working to stay at home when my first child was born. Mm-hmm. And I loved organizing. I always did my whole life. And I was at home. I had a 3.5-year-old, a 1.5-year-old, and I was pregnant with my third child. Because I was organized, so I said to myself, you know, what can I do? I feel like I'm wasting time. My children slept at least 3 hours a day, the 3.5-year-old and the 1.5-year-old. So I had 21 hours of free time a week, which is a lot of time if you think about it.
Yeah. So I don't know too many mothers that have that many hours, so that's pretty amazing. Yeah. Of course, when they get older too, then that time all goes away, right?
It definitely does. But they would sleep from 1 to 4 every day, and because I was organized, their naps were on schedule. They slept very well because they were scheduled, they were scheduled naps. So they always slept at the same time. So I thought, gosh, I feel like I'm wasting time. I'm sitting here waiting for them to wake up. What can I do? What am I good at? So I started thinking about it. I thought, well, maybe something with organizing. I never heard of a professional organizer 16 years ago. Wow. And so I thought, gosh, there's a need for organizing products out there. 16 years ago, there weren't storage organization categories in stores. Mm-hmm. And I knew I had some frustration finding products. So what I decided to do was offer some products and at the same time offer guidance and direction on how to get organized. So I had an all great ideas workshop. Wow. And I invited people to my home. The first hour was all about how to get organized. The second hour I showed them products. And I said, look, don't feel obligated to buy anything. I don't want to add any clutter to your life. If you feel this will help you, then go ahead and order it. And then in 2 weeks, the order was in, and I provided them the product, and they loved it. And that's how it started, because I'd never heard of a professional organizer. Yeah. But as soon as I started, someone said, oh, gosh, you should be an organizing consultant. And I said, well, I am, because I was a consultant providing this information. So I called myself an organizing consultant till about 3 months into it. And I was reordering product from a company in California, and I said, I'm calling from Albright Ideas. And they said, that sounds like a NAPO name. I said, what's NAPO? Huh. And they said, the National Association of Professional Organizers.
Okay, so you joined NAPO, and back then, what was the chapter like? Was there a lot of people involved, or was it just 3 or 4 of you sitting around a table?
Well, back then, I think the membership was around 400. Now it's over 4,000. Right. I didn't join a local chapter because I didn't even know one existed. I don't think it did exist when I originally joined. And then a number of years later, I joined when my children were a little bit older and could leave them at home at night and venture off to the chapter meeting. And I still belong, and I thoroughly enjoy going to the chapter meetings.
Oh, that's great. Now, let's talk about, you actually have a physical brick and mortar office / is it a store where people come in and buy stuff as well? Yes. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. I have an office for my work. I have my office for my organizing services, and I also have a brick and mortar store where people can actually walk in, buy organizing products. What's great is they're all products that a professional organizer loves. They're not just a store selling products to sell product. I handpick each one. They have to have certain qualities, have to be a reasonable price, because I want people to be able to afford to get organized, but I want them using products that really work, my favorite products.
What are some of the top sellers in your store?
Well, the product that I had called to reorder, and they said, "Are you a NAPO member?" That's still one of the top products, which is their clear trays to organize your socks, your underwear, your pajamas, all different things, all your clothing that belongs in your drawers, your t-shirts, things like that. So the clear trays to organize your dresser drawers.
Okay.
That's still number one. And there's another, line of products that's popular, but the sock organizers are probably still one of the number one products.
Right. Now, do you still, in your professional organizing consulting services, go out to people's homes, assess their situation and that kind of more traditional type of organizing as well?
I do. I have a team of professional organizers, so I'm not the one always going out, but I do the initial consultation or assessment over the telephone. I also do business organizing, which I love to do. So I do residential and business organizing. I love doing both, and I'm torn between the two, because I think one's a little bit more creative, one's more about being productive and going mean, so I enjoy both.
Right. So, like, when you go out to a business to help them, what are some of the most common traps that people fall into, organizational traps that you usually help them overcome?
Paper management is number one.
And how do you go after paper management? How do you say, okay, let's, here are the 3 or 4 steps that we go through to do that?
Well, that's all about Work Piles Made Easy. Work Piles Made Easy is a methodology that I trademarked about how to clear off your desk and have your papers into categories so you can be the most productive at any given moment. So it categorizes all your papers that are coming in through people dropping them off at your desk, through emails, all different things, so you can be productive, and it works miracles. When I work with businesses, they're just amazed at how quickly they can have their desk cleared off and how productive they can be.
Now, this Work Piles Made Easy, is that something they can only get through you as a service, or do you have that as something that someone can purchase, like an ebook or a regular book or worksheets or whatever?
It's a service. It's both. It's a service that we provide in person, or we can provide through virtual services, through a telephone call or through Skype. We also have it as a product too that is limited in its availability right now. Right now we're just using it with the clients we work with, but we would like to be able to offer it to the general public.
Right. So you can actually work with people all over the country going through this process with a lot of virtual kinds of services, I guess, so to speak, right?
Yes, and it's so easy to set up. It's just amazing. People who I've worked with in the business that were very skeptical or felt they were already organized already, and the company wanted them to be more organized, and I came in, did Work Piles Made Easy, and they're just amazed.
Well, give us a couple. What are the couple of the steps in the process? I know we don't have time to go through the whole thing, but just give us a couple highlights from Work Piles Made Easy.
The steps are actually sorting your papers. So having those categories already defined for you and sorting those papers into those categories, and sometimes breaking those categories down a little bit further. Like, for example, everybody needs a to-do bin, basket, whatever it might be. But taking that to-do and breaking it down a little further. Some people might like their to-do broken down into urgent, non-urgent. Some people broke it down to today, this week, this month, whenever. Or, for example, a law firm might want their to-do bin broken down even more and have just one category for intakes. Intakes are those people calling about services.
Right.
So breaking that to-do down so you can prioritize what you should be doing next.
Right. Oh, that sounds like a great opportunity. Listen, we're going to take a quick little break here, and when we come back, I want to talk to you about that 10 minutes a day to organizing success, because I know one of the things that people have a problem with is thinking, I don't have time to get organized. So we are talking with Diane Albright from DianeAlbright.com. We'll be right back in just a moment. Welcome to the Smead New Products Gallery, featuring some of the innovative new products available now where you buy your office and organizational products. These Super Tab 2-pocket folders have the unique lock-it flap at the top that folds over to secure documents and prevents them from falling out. The built-in Super Tab gives you 90% more labeling area for more lines of text. Stack-it organizers are great for organizing presentations and projects. There are 3 pockets that can hold up to 50 sheets each, plus tab dividers for labeling and subdivision, plus the tuck flap secures your documents in place. Stack-it folders are a great way to showcase your presentations. These store individual proposals or projects in the vertical orientation without 3-hole punching. And the tuck flap secures the documents in place when you are on the move. The Step Index Organizer has innovative tiered tabs that let you see everything at a glance, and the clear front window makes viewing what is inside the file easy. The flap and elastic closure provide security for easy transport or storage. Neatly bind your presentations, reports, or other documents in this clear front report cover in linen stock. This report cover allows you to store up to 150 sheets at one time, and the 2-piece design allows the file to grow as you add more documents. Check out these and the other new great organizing products from Smead, keeping you organized. We're back now with Diane Albright from DianeAlbright.com, and I kind of teased before we went into our little break there about the 10 minutes a day to organizing success, which is another one of your programs. That sounds very enticing because one of the objections that at least I seem to have with myself is I don't always have time to get organized. So what can you do in 10 minutes, I guess?
Actually, you can do a lot, but the reason why I started 10 minutes a day to organizing success is do a lot of speaking presentations. Okay. And always at the end, someone will raise their hand and say, I don't have time to get organized. Right. So what I wanted to do is take out the roadblocks to getting organized. So 10 minutes a day to organizing success, what it is just taking 10 minutes a day, and I usually like to say 6 days a week or even 5 days a week, and have either Saturday and Sunday off or Sunday off, and just take 10 minutes and organize one thing. So you might take 10 minutes and organize your wallet today. Okay. Or if you're a woman, take 10 minutes, organize your purse. Tomorrow, maybe you're going to start the process for organizing your closet. So tomorrow, you take 10 minutes and just look through all your shirts and purge your shirts. What shirts you don't wear anymore that you want to get rid of. The next day, you take 10 minutes and go through maybe your pants. Or maybe in 10 minutes, you can go through your entire closet. But just breaking it down into achievable segments. Because what happens is somebody wants to organize their closet. They normally pull everything out. And then before you know it, it's time to go to bed and everything's laying on their bed. And now they're not putting it back in the right way. It looks worse, and they get frustrated, and they say they can't get organized. So if you just break every project down to 10 minutes a day, you just take the steps, you feel accomplished afterwards, it doesn't look worse than when you started. So that's what 10 minutes a day to organizing success is really about.
Well, that sounds great. Now, what do you do about accountability for the person? Okay, they maybe do it for a few days. How do you keep people on track so they at least do their 10 minutes every day?
Well, I think because it's just 10 minutes, I think they will stay on track. But what I also do is provide a form or a handout that's 3 weeks. Oh. So there's 3 weeks on the front. I'm showing Monday through Sunday, and you fill it out. Okay. So Sunday night, you sit down, or Monday morning, and you fill it out for the entire week of what you're going to do for 10 minutes each day. And then usually the last day of 10 minutes a day to organizing success, the last day, you take those 10 minutes and you plan the next week.
That's a good idea.
So you always have a plan.
Right.
So you have a plan for 3 weeks. You turn the paper over because hopefully you photocopied it and you have it on the other side. So really you have 6 weeks worth of 10 minutes a day to organizing success on one sheet of paper. Oh, that's and I do great. Offer that form on my website, 10 minutes a day to organizing success, that people can download and print for free so they can have their plan, whatever they want to work on. If they want to work on their kitchen, that whole week, 10 minutes, something each day. And what I find is, even though they devote 10 minutes, they get so excited about it, so motivated, they might spend more than the 10 minutes because they see how easy it is. The hardest part is getting started. And if you say, I'm going to do it for 10 minutes, that's not hard to get started with 10 minutes.
My wife pulled that trick on me one time. She said, "We're only going to wash 3 windows today, all right?" And so we washed 3. She goes, "Let's just wash 1 more." We kept going and going and going. But it is getting started is always always kind of the hard part. So, well, do you have any favorite organizing tips that you like to share with people, or ones that you've seen? You've been a professional organizer for quite some time. What are some ideas that you could give our listeners and viewers to just help them get organized?
Yeah, I love sharing tips. Sometimes you can't stop me from sharing them because they're just little things that make such a difference. One of my favorites, this is part of 10 Minutes a Day to Organizing Success, is getting your sales receipts organized. When I hear, I can't find my sales receipt. You have something to return, you can't find it, and you're frustrated, and the time has expired for the return policy. So if you take a cute little box, and I say cute box, the reason I want a cute box is so you leave the box out. And so if it's just maybe a non-attractive box, you might tuck it inside a cabinet and never pull it out again. So if it's a cute box, you leave it as part of your decor. And inside the box, put in an alphabetical index from A to Z.
Okay.
So now when you have a receipt for perhaps Office Depot, Staples, Target, whatever it may be, you can put it under the alphabetical letter. So for Staples, we'll go under S for Staples, Bed Bath & Beyond, B, and tuck it behind that alphabetical index. If it's a larger receipt, you can just fold it in half, tuck it in behind there. Now when you need the receipt, you can go pull it out. Don't make the mistake of thinking, oh, I bought a pair of pants at Macy's and you put under P for pants. No, it's by the store, because you can have multiple items on the receipt. So it goes by the store name, not what's on the receipt. Place it in there. You might find you have extra space in the beginning. What I do is I have note cards or index cards that I use. I might tuck in the back to take up that extra space. Keep putting your receipts in there. Maybe once a year, twice a year, go back through and take out the receipts you no longer need. If you do have a receipt that has a warranty with it, what you want to do is photocopy that receipt right away, because it's probably on thermal paper. And thermal paper usually fades over time or exposure to light, because it's not actually ink. It's a heat process, so thermal paper will fade. So if it's one with a warranty, don't even bother putting it in the box. Staple the copy and the receipt right to the manual, and then you have it. So if something goes wrong, you're not looking for the receipt, you're not looking for the manual, they're both together. So put the receipt with your manuals instead of in the box. This way you have all your receipts. The other thing I do, I have children, and I will hand my children receipts and I'll tell them to file it away. This way I'm teaching them life skills, so when they go off on their own, this will be common for them. They won't have to think, what do I do with receipts? So I think that's really important, teaching your children life skills at an early age.
Absolutely. And the receipt thing is something I think we all struggle with, at least, unless we have a system like that. Well, let's shift gears right now and talk about maybe an organizational horror story. You've been on cable TV, on programs, and also with local clients. Now, you don't have to use people's names or anything. You can just kind of describe the situation. But has there been an organizing nightmare that you've been called into that you've been able to solve that maybe is a little interesting?
Gosh, there's always interesting ones. And I learned something from every client. I'm just trying to think. I think one of the most recent one that comes to mind is an office I was working in, a business office. I was hired, and I am still working in this firm, and going through and organizing each one of the staff. And I was starting with 4 people, 4 people, 2 professionals and 2 of their assistants. And one person was very excited to have me there. The other ones weren't. And which
it takes cooperation sometimes.
And it's a whole different story when somebody else is paying to get you organized rather than when you're paying to get organized. If you're paying to get organized, it's something you really want. And so I was working with one of the administrative support people, and she already felt she was organized. And she was giving me a little bit of a hard time when I wanted to change the names of different categories that she already had set up. She was really giving me a hard time, and she wouldn't give in and was difficult to work with. And she was in a cubicle, and everybody around could hear that she was giving me a hard time. But I still stuck to it, and I just kept moving forward. And it was challenging. And I went home that night and I thought, gosh, I just don't know what to do because she's not willing to change, and here I've been hired to do this. I came in the next morning, started working again, or I should back up and say, before I left that day, I said, okay, I'll be back tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. She said, well, do we really need another appointment? And I said, yes, we do. So I showed up 8 o'clock, and she wasn't thrilled to see me. She was always nice to me, but she wasn't thrilled about me being there. And a little bit into it, all of a sudden, when I started moving her items around, I moved her telephone to the left-hand side because she's right-handed. I've changed the position of her computer so she would have a lot of space to her right so she could work, a lot of workspace. All of a sudden, it clicked, and she got it.
Oh.
And she was so excited, and she just all of a sudden started saying, I love it, I love it, I love it. That everybody in the cubicles got up and walked over to her cubicle and started looking in. And it reminded me of, do you remember the commercial about Life cereal and Mikey eating Life? And he didn't want to eat the Life cereal. And then all of a sudden, he loved it. And it reminded me of that. So all of a sudden, everybody came around, and they're looking. And then from that moment forward, everybody else in their offices started changing it to the way her office was set up. So her office became her cubicle became the showroom. And to this day, they still call it the showroom. Everybody goes to hers for examples.
Oh, that's a great story. And it kind of gets back to that whole idea of just getting started. Sometimes people just need the extra little nudge. So now you are also a motivational speaker. What are some of the topics that you speak on, and what kind of events do you speak at?
I speak at all different events, from worldwide corporations to colleges to associations. I don't think there's any specific type or any type that I don't. Matter of fact, I was just called upon by a judicial court to come in and speak to 150 people. So there's all different types. And the topics range from being more productive in the workplace to home organizing to paper management. Paper management's pretty big. Business or residential, just a number of things, and just motivating them to communicate better, to be organized, because I think communication and organization are key factors in the workplace nowadays. Everybody has the means to be educated or the means to get the information they need, but what you do with it is what makes a difference. How you communicate to others in your work environment, how organized you are, how fast you can do things, is how productive you can be.
Well, and that's a universal message that'll probably be around a long time. A lot of times we hear that, paper's going away, but I don't think paper's going away anytime soon. There's still a lot of it, but it's really more the core issue of staying organized and what you do.
And as far as papers will always be around, but it's also now becoming digital comfortable, should I say. A lot of people have to be digital for a certain extent of their work, but it's having both a digital system and a physical system and merging and blending the two, because you have to have both, and you can't have one system for your physical papers or your hard copy papers and one system for your digital files. They have to be a blend of the two. Otherwise, when you go from your hard copy to your computer, all of a sudden your brain has to change its thought process. So you want those two systems to be the same. And that's what WorkPiles Made Easy is about too, is you can use WorkPiles Made Easy for your hard copies. You can also use it for your emails and other things on your desk. So it's blending those two systems to be the most productive.
Wow. Well, that's great. We're kind of out of time here. I know there's more we could talk about, but what's the best way? Why don't you just describe the best way to get a hold of you? I know you also have a couple different offices, locations, and how people can connect with you.
The best way is either to pick up the phone and call. We love telephone calls, or email me. You can email me at organize@DianeAlbright.com. And Diane Albright, Diane is Diane with one N and Albright with one L, because I keep up the clutter. Okay. Or you can pick up the phone and call. Our telephone number is 610-782-0636. That's our main corporate office. We also do have a location in Florida, but we help anybody virtually anywhere. So any country, anywhere. We're eager to help, and our mission is to help people get organized.
Well, great. Well, thank you for being on today. It's Diane Albright from DianeAlbright.com.